Hello everyone, in this video we're going to work out more solutions of solving inequalities using multiplication and division. But the catch here is that whatever we're going to multiply or divide by to get the final solution set for our inequality, that number will be negative because this is a very special case. When you get to your final step and it involves multiplying or dividing that leading coefficient that's paired with our variable, I'll just work out a small example here. If I have negative 2x is greater than 12, what you would do is you would divide by negative 2 to solve. You would work it out the same exact way you would in the previous videos that we've worked out. So negative 2 divided by negative 2, that's gone. 12 divided by negative 2, that's negative 6. But here's what happens that's different. This inequality started as greater than. Because we divided by a negative, we're now going to switch the direction of the inequality symbol. So it's no longer greater than, it's now less than. Only do this, reversing the direction of that inequality symbol, when you divide or multiply by a negative coefficient. Because if you don't, you're going to get the wrong answer for the inequality. So it's very important to remember that when you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, that inequality symbol changes from greater than or less than or vice versa, depending on what you were dealing with originally. This property is also true for if we were dealing with the inclusion, whether that was greater than or equal to going to less than or equal to, or the other way around. So let's work out a few examples. A lot of times when you're working out these inequalities that you're solving, you'll have fractions quite often. It's not meant to intimidate you, it's just to tell you that you're going to be working with a couple of variations for finding these inequality solution sets. So let's look at this first one. Negative 2 over 3, n, is less than or equal to 2. This coefficient not only is negative, but is a fraction, so what we're going to do is multiply by its negative reciprocal, which would be negative 3 halves, or negative 3 over 2. And to make this easier, I'll change this to 2 over 1. So if you multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, it cancels out, leaving you with just the variable here. 2 times negative 3 halves, that's negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Change the direction of the inequality symbol, in this case, from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. And that is your solution set for this inequality. Let's look at the one directly beneath it, because this one's kind of interesting. Here I have negative t is greater than 1/2. I don't want a negative coefficient for the solution set, I want a positive one. So there is an understood 1 here, multiplied by negative 1. The negatives will cancel, leaving you with positive t. 1/2 is now negative 1/2. Greater than now becomes less than. That's the solution set for this inequality. We flipped it from greater than to less than. Let's do 2 more. Just about done here. First one says negative 5z is greater than or equal to 25. Divide by negative 5. (25) divided by negative 5 is negative 5. Greater than or equal to now becomes less than or equal to. And there's our solution set for that inequality. One more, right here. Negative 2 times t is less than negative 8. Divide by negative 2. The good news is we have a positive number for the inequality, but that inequality symbol is no longer less than, it's now greater than. So just remember, whenever you have inequalities with a negative coefficient for that final step, when you're multiplying or dividing and that's a negative number, switch the inequality symbol. We'll work out some multi-step inequalities next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.